start working cold collar. My very first job. I had a dream to come to America. I was like, I'm going to America. Since I
You were a
was,
cold caller for an American company.
yeah.
What were you cold calling about?
So it was advertising company. And there's a funny story when it comes to that. I needed money. Like, okay, I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to America. I told everybody, like all my friends, I was like, we're going. There were four of my best friends. I was like, listen, guys, we're going to the States.
Okay, because I would hate to do this and then be like, "Oh, I probably should hit the record button."
It all comes out.
It happens. Remember, I'm not tech savvy. I'm 55.
You got it.
All right, so today we have Omar Medhat
That's the middle name. Yeah. Omar Medhat Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Yep.
I met Omar, I think it was about 2 years ago now.
Yep.
Okay, and it was at a property. I think it was in Stowe Rocks. And how the heck did we even meet? That's the question. How did we meet? Do you recall?
Remember? Yeah, I recall. Bigger pockets. I was
right.
doing a 203K loan, and I was very new to it, very new to real estate, and I was looking for a contractor that works with me. And you had posted something on Bigger Pockets about like renovation and 203K loan and FHA. So I've reached out, and then it took you a while. Then we responded, and it was a holiday. And I was like, what's this guy responding to me on a holiday? I can't remember if it was 4th of July, maybe. And you're like, here, I'm at the office. I just saw your email. And we start talking.
Yeah,
And
because I don't go. I'm gonna make a habit to do the Bigger Pockets again and get on
yeah,
there more, but I'm not on there frequently enough. But yeah,
me neither. But look at that. And then
Mhm.
we met at the property, and I start talking to you that I was doing a 2 or 3K. And I also had two properties under a contract. And I told you about the Stowe Rocks one. And you were like, that's great numbers. Let's go meet there. And then we met
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's right. I think you had kind of asked for. I was doing a flip right around the corner, and I thought, well, I'll just meet with this guy. I like talking to you, and I thought I like meeting new people who I feel have a passion and a work ethic, and I don't mind spending time with someone like that. You can get caught up spending a lot of time and energy with people that that like you look at them, you listen to them, and you realize that I don't think they're going to make it. Because it does take a drive. It takes work ethic. If you don't have that, you should get a 9 to 5.
I agree.
And I don't mean to be like deflate your balloon, but until you're ready, until you look in the mirror and the mirror says back to you, you're ready to sacrifice, you're ready to grind. You shouldn't jump into this because it's very stressful. It's hard.
Yeah, I totally agree. Not only that you're ready with knowledge, you're ready.
And I'm not just talking real estate, just any business.
Absolutely. It's a very lonely road. Lonely, it's tough, it gets hard. So if you have your mindset that no matter what's gonna happen, I'm gonna figure it out, that's when I believe you can absolutely make it. It doesn't matter the knowledge, it doesn't matter what you're gonna face it. Everything is gonna go wrong, is gonna go wrong at one point. Like I mean, so you just gotta figure out to separate yourself from the problems and don't take it like deep. Oh, I failed. You're just gonna keep continuing. All right, I'm gonna solve this issue, and I'm just gonna keep going on. Solve this issue and keep going on.
Yeah, I read something, and the quote was, "Don't look for less problems. Look for more skills.
Yep, absolutely.
More skills to solve those problems, because problems are the opportunity to grow."
Very true. Very true.
Doesn't feel like that in the moment, but
No, but once you get through that, it just things becomes easier. So
exactly.
yeah, we met
It's
there.
like a muscle. If you work your bicep or a muscle, it's going to get larger and stronger. It's the problem solving muscle in your brain.
Yeah, for sure.
You
So
get to
yeah,
handle that stress, and but we met there, and
Yeah.
I remember walking through it with you, and you had some ideas, and I think I helped you with just open up your eyes on where to spend money, where not to, specifically for that house in that neighborhood in that particular market. Now you ended up rehabbing it and keeping it. Am I
Yep.
correct?
Correct. So I had it under a contract, and one of my friends that does real estate, he said, "Hey, I'll reassign it to me. I'll give you 5K. I'll give you 8K." He felt like I didn't want to, but like I'll give you 8K, and then you made $8,000. Just move on. But my idea was, I want to own the real estate. I don't want another job. I have a pretty good job. I just want to keep him. I want to be able to travel back home, spend time with my family, and the cash is coming on. But I didn't have any money. So when I met you there, you gave me great feedback, which is something I suggest to a lot of people that are just starting. I had zero experience then in renovating or how anything works. I just knew the idea, but I didn't know how renovation goes in. And you give me great pointers about like adding a half bath. That was great. You give me a couple pointers about like, no, do not open no walls. Doesn't deserve it here. I would not finish the basement because it's not going to improve the comps. And I remember every single thing you said, and I was like, oh, that's great. And then you were like, so what do you want to do? I was like, I want to keep it. You were like, we can partner together. And I was like, we can, but you know, I really don't want to do a flip, but I don't have any money. And you introduced me to my hard money lender now and one of my really good friends slash mentor, Mark.
Yeah, very
You,
smart fella, and that's a good mentor to have.
yeah,
And you know, that's I'm happy to help. That's why I introduced you guys, because you needed the money, and that worked out for you because you financed it through Mark, and then you refinance it
yep, I
through
did the
a
full burn.
conventional bank.
Absolutely. Finance through Mark. I think I had it under contract for 23,000. Renovated for like maybe 32. So let's say all in 55. The bank came back and said it's worth 95. So made about 40K in equity. They gave me 65 back. Paid Mark his money.
So you basically did that with zero money down. Did you even pull money out?
I think like about like not much, 3K or so, but
that's incredible. I mean, how can you? I don't know where else you can buy something and walk out of it with a check in your hand, ultimately after 6 months or how long it took. And now you have an asset worth 90, you owe 65. So now you're $25,000. Is that what equity, is it?
Yep.
And it's cash flowing, right? What is it rented for now?
1,200.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. $1,200. It's been great property. It hasn't had it vacant. So, I mean, since then, yeah, never had any issues, and it's been great. So that gives me a lot of motivation. Like I already had the idea in my mind. I was like, man, let's do this again and again and again and again and again and again.
You could have just walked away with 8.
Sure.
So that's very enticing when you're just starting out. Like, oh, okay, wow, 8,000. That's fantastic. It's harder said than done. It's hard to make 8 on a deal. It's like a wholesale deal or assignment deal. But so that was, so you had the foresight to realize the true wealth is long term.
Absolutely. Because it was my goal. What was my goal? Like I was thinking, you know, there's always shiny object syndrome that comes all along the way. Liam and I have a joke for it. Liam, one of Alex's agents, we say it like the Matrix said it. The woman in the red dress. There was a part in the Matrix, and I think we saw it from Alex Hermonzi, and we love it because all the time we get ideas and we would get distracted from our goal. So I try as much as I can not to look at the woman in the red dress, you know, like, okay, this is great, 8K. I still had debt. I had a lot of credit card debt then. You know, like I didn't have any money saved, just like anybody just starting. I have a great job that making good money, but I was spending it all. I had expensive car payment. You just like life expenses. So $8,000 sounded so good, but I'm super glad that I didn't sell it because again, I would have probably spent $8,000 and I would have been where I'm at. Right now it's bringing
cash flow. The mechanics of it would have been 8 pure profit, which would have been taxed at regular income, where the 3,000 you pulled out of that refinance, you pay zero tax on that. And now you're worth $25,000 more than you were. I mean, it's a no brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Plus it's probably increased in value that like, I mean, things change, but no, it's been a great property. So, and that was the first time we met.
Well, somebody just starting out would, and who needs the money, who didn't have a job, who was just, hey, I'm totally new at this, and my shoestring budget, I need 8,000 to pay my bills for the next 2 months. That would have been a good deal for them too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But fortunately for you, let's get back to like introducing you. Okay, so Omar, age 30, right?
Yep, just turned 30.
Born and raised in Cairo, Egypt. And I don't watch the news, on purpose. I'm just when I think of Cairo, Egypt, I just think of, I don't know, is it war ridden over there? Is it a peaceful time? Do you have the American dream opportunities in Cairo? No. So
there's no American dream. That's why I always wanted to come in. Just the opportunity. It's a third world country. So the opportunities are very, 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 very limited. So I mean, it's peace. It's a beautiful country. Weather is great. Food is great. Everything about it is great. The opportunity lacks. So
You're limited on how high you can go. And is it based on if you're born into a different, like a richer family, then you have more opportunity.
Absolutely.
And when you're poor, it's almost impossible.
yeah,
Is that
60% of Egyptian, we're about like 110 million, or 60% are on poverty line or under. So you could imagine it's tough. Like it's really tough. Now things are getting more, not to get too into the weed of economics, but it is harder. It doesn't matter over there. You know how here we say the harder you work, the luckier you get. It doesn't apply there. You could go to school, you could study, you could work hard, and unfortunately, you don't get anywhere. Which I would meet a lot of people, and I think that idea was in my mind the whole time I was there. I didn't come from a rich family, but we weren't very poor either. But like if you look at it from the American standard, you would consider poor, but it's not poor. Like, okay, I didn't have like an iPhone, I wouldn't have an Apple Watch, didn't have a car, I had enough money to like get by, like very, very enough to get by, but I wouldn't do anything extra fun if I needed to. So I start working cold collar. My very first job, I had a dream to come to America. I was like, I'm going to America. Since I
you
was,
were a cold caller for an American company?
Yeah.
What were you cold calling about?
so it was advertising company. And there's a funny story when it comes to that. I needed money. Like, okay, I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to America. I told everybody, like all my friends, I was like, we're going. There were four of my best friends. I was like, listen, guys, we're going to the States. All right, perfect. How are we gonna get there? Let's figure it out. And then one day, one of my friends came and he was like, hey, I found this program. And this guy just came from America. He traveled through this program, and my eyes were that big. I was like, tell me everything. He told me that there is a company there that works with America. They bring students over here for the summer. And again, all my idea was just to come work a little bit and go back, make some money. He was like, hey, so it costs you about like, I can't remember, 20 grand Egyptian LE, something like that, which is a lot more that I could afford. That was just the first year of college when I heard about it. So I was like, I need a job. So I went, I was like, then one of my friends was like, hey, I work as a cold caller for an American company, like offshoring, that cold calling agents. I was like, that's perfect. I'll practice my English. The funny part is when I went to the interview, the guy was American. He was like, you cannot say that on the phone that your name is Omar Mohammed. People will hang up on you. I've never been. He was like, you have to pick a name.
But that's my name.
I was like, that's my name. He was like, no, you got to pick a new name.
This is Omar Smith.
So you're going to love that. I was like, my name is Tom. He was like, what's your last name? I was like, Wayne. So my name was Tom Wayne. My best friend name was Robert Mason. I didn't know even their actual real names, people there. There was like, he was dating this girl. Her name was Silver Mendes. I can't remember her actual Egyptian name. You were not allowed to speak Arabic on the floor. It's all use American names. It's funny because we would go somewhere, like after work, we would go eat or go somewhere, and we would call each other with our agent names. So people would be sitting and be like, what? What's going on? But it was a good vibe. I learned a lot. I loved cold calling then. I had a great first manager because it was my first job, and it gets tough.
And you were still in college at the time?
I was in college. I was going to college in the morning, finished college about 3
What
o'clock.
were you going to college for?
Business information system. And then I would just leave college, go to school, come back from school. Leave college, go to work. And then I would go back home at 2 a.m. because Cairo's 7 hours ahead. So we worked till like 2 a.m. there. And it was great. But I learned sales kind of there. I understood sales. I had the skills, but very, very green. But I understood the numbers game there because I was like doing really, really well. But my accent was rough. There were kids there. You couldn't even tell that they're out overseas. Their accent were perfect, but I wasn't. I had a thicker accent. It was tougher a little bit to understand people on the phone. Even though that I went to English school, it's just like you're not used to it. People speaking fast, but everybody, Alex, was making like maybe 100 calls a day, 110. I was in the 300s.
Wow.
And that's the first time I understood the power of the will. They have better skills. That's the first time I ever seen it. And it happened to me when I came here too. These people have better skills than me, had everything else better to do better, but I still beat them because I wanted to, because my drive. But I didn't understand it then. Now when I look at it, I was like, wow.
Yeah, hard work will surpass natural talent.
all the time.
Yeah. Eventually.
Eventually, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So you came here when you were 20.
Yep. 20 years old, 10 years ago.
Man. So how do you come to America and legit? I mean, how do you do that?
So again, I applied for the program. I got accepted. It's the happiest day of my life. Great. Went for the interview. It was a longer process, so many interviews and everything. And I didn't have the highest GPA, but people were like, there's something about you. So the program is made for supposedly like they almost handpick who they want to select, thinking that these students that they bring here, they put them all together in one resort to work together. They think they're going to go back, be something big in the future. They can stop like a World War III because they're relationships. So I was selected. Unfortunately, my other friends didn't follow through. Maybe did the first step, didn't go, and then I got the time to come. So when I came first after the program, I took the hardest decision of my life at 20 years old, which I decided to stay. And that was a very, very tough journey because, again, I'm here by myself, 20 years old, and all my family are back home. And once you decide to stay, you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where you're going to end up or when you're going to see your family again. I remember I called my mom and she was like, no, come back. You have your school here. You don't know anybody there. Again, the mom is always going to be a mom. When am I going to see you again? I was like, hopefully soon. And it took me 7 years till I finally was able to go back and see my family. And during the 7 years, of course, a lot of things happened. I had to work in restaurants. I had to sleep in restaurants. I had to sleep in cars just because and some people like, okay, you're immigrant. At this point, I wasn't legally allowed to work. So people would just take advantage, pay $2 an hour, dishwasher, 12 hours a day. But again, I saw a light at the end of the
It's an
tunnel.
awesome story.
Thank you. I saw a light at the end of the tunnel, and I was like, if I stick to this, I could not only change my life and my, hopefully future generations' life, I can help my family back. I can give more. I would rather still, but at this point, I had no other option. If I go back, there is no school. My whole life is destroyed. I'd get to either make it or die at that point.
You
So
burn the boats, brother.
burn the boats. That's pretty much what happened.
Damn, that's freaking awesome. Your full-time job was your first full-time job out of college was AT&T?
No, so that's a full-time job once I was allowed to get, once I got my work permit here.
Yeah.
I worked in a call center as well, just because it's all what I knew,
Okay.
but it wasn't the same.
But
it wasn't
you
sales.
finally worked
Yeah, got
just
through.
endlessly, tirelessly, studied, worked, do whatever it took. Slept in cars, slept in restaurants.
Yep.
Come on. I mean, if you,
I was in Tennessee.
I love listening to these stories because
thank
if you listen to them, there's a common denominator, and there's a lot of other entrepreneurs. Like, I think there was they got Damon on Shark Tank. Like
Yeah.
he was homeless for a while. I think Elon Musk slept in his factory for 3 years. It's just on and on. These folks,
Cheers.
they burn the boats. They
Yep.
just like it's do or die.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that if you are like, if you got rich or you were born in a better family, you cannot make it. But it's the idea of no matter what it takes, like back to our first point where you talked about it, I will figure it out. Things are going to happen. Of course, I wasn't happy sleeping in the restaurant and in the basement. It wasn't like, oh,
Did
great.
you at least get free meals?
So yeah, but no, it wasn't free. I got meals, but then when I would get my paycheck, they would deduct it from it. It was just like terrible people to work with. But they
Man,
were like, hey, you had 2 burgers on Wednesday.
Wow.
So I'm gonna take that. Not all people were bad, and then fortunately, I met somebody who was Egyptian as well. I always credit, where I'm at because of him. Kind of took me under his wing. He was like, "Yeah, don't work with these people. Come here." I start learning the restaurant business and give him. He start trusting me, so he would go home, stay, and I would run the whole business for him at one point. So not everybody's bad, but you got to get through the bad to get the good.
Think you want to own a restaurant someday?
No, not the restaurant business. My best friend did it a little bit, but I'm trying to more focus.
Yeah.
There's always, again, goes back. There's so many shiny object syndrome. The girl in the red dress. I'm trying to stay away from her.
All right. Then eventually you got a job at AT&T. Did you start at a store selling phones, or did you just
Exactly.
Is that what happened?
So once I got a job with AT&T, I was like super happy. I was worried because they were like, oh, you get paid hourly plus commission. I never understood what commission means. And they were like, do not worry, you'll figure it out. I was like, you guys going to give me all the money? I remember in my interview, And they were like, you're accepted. I was like, so you said if I sell this, you give me $30. Are you guys going to give me all the 30 or are you going to keep 25? Dude looked at me, he was like, what? And his name was Lee, great, one of the greatest manager I had, or our leaders I learned from. And Lee was like, Omar, where did you work before? I was like, I don't think you really want to know. And he started laughing and he was like, let's go crush it. So first day on the job, Alex, it's crazy. So again, you would see what I talked about earlier about people having better resources, better skills, but I still beat them since day one. And anybody in AT&T watching this, they will attest to that. I was number one on the whole company the whole year around, the first year being sales rep. My paychecks were $5,000.
Wait, the company of AT&T?
Company of AT&T, our market. So
Yeah,
our market was Ohio, Pennsylvania, a little bit of New Jersey.
How long did it take you to get to that status?
After a month. So I started October. By this, I started October. November, I don't think I finished number one, maybe number two. By January till December, there's a dashboard where you see the numbers. It was Omar Muhammad all year long. People would call me and be like, can we just come? They would send people to come learn from me. I would sell enough for my store and 2 other stores. Just me. And people were like, what are you doing? And I was like, again, I had vacation, took none. Because I wanted to be number one. I didn't want to change that. Took no vacations. I would stay late. I would clock in early. When they want cover, I'll be there. Again, it's the first time I see money like that. So it was great. And the company took really, really, really good care of me. They were like, you're going to be something one day. Like, it's crazy.
That's an incredible story.
And then start climbing up the ladder within 4 years.
Manage a store, now you're, how many years did it take for you to go from that first job at AT&T to now you manage an area?
Correct. Right? 4 years, which is almost unheard of. That's what they say. Like, so managers, sales rep 1 year, assistant manager 1 year, store manager 1 year. And then they were like, wow, like you're an area manager. And my dream at then was like, man, I want to become an area manager. That was like great, really good benefits. You make your own schedule. I was like super happy. And
do you have aspirations to be the CEO of AT&T?
No.
Mobile? No. No? Because it sounds like
I used to.
It sounds like it's a possibility.
It was.
Anything's possible.
Everything is possible.
Yeah.
And at one point, I just had to think about what I want. There's some things about corporate.
Have you been offered something larger?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's going to get in the way of my vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had got so many offers. Just like, okay, Omar, you've been in the same position. How about this? Because the next step is a director of sales, which is bigger. And I was like, no, my idea shifted a little bit. 2 years ago, about when I was meeting you and I was reading, I just wanted to be able to have more freedom. Money's not everything, right? I got at what price are you going to make that money? What price are you going to pay? And am I willing to pay the price?
You're trading time for dollars.
Yeah. You could always get the dollars, but you cannot always get the time.
Yeah. Man. All right. So now where you are is 2 years ago, I start reading, I start educating myself, which is what I tell people to do is you have to start, first of all, look in the mirror. Are you willing to sacrifice? Okay. Are you willing to live in your car? Not buy this, not buy that. The answer has to be, yes, I am. And it has to be from the heart, not, yeah.
Maybe, or yeah.
Then you get to the point where you have this great position and start reading, educating yourself. And then at that point, you buy your first home to live in with the 203K.
Correct. So I started thinking, okay, how can I cut more expenses? So my first step was like, okay, how do I get out of the rat race? Start reading, investing, like understanding investing, reading. Penny stocks came in front of me first. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then real estate came. Actually, my friend that told me I'll give you 8K, he gave me the idea. He was like, hey, you're really good at sales, great personality. Go find me boarded up houses and I'll give you money for finding them. That's all what he told me about wholesaling. And I was like, okay. So I went home, started reading about it, YouTube, watched 3 weeks YouTube and eating pizza, gained weight, just consuming 3 weeks. Week 4, I started cold calling.
You did not only consume information.
I consumed a lot of pizza.
Everything in front of you.
I tell you, Fox's Pizza, shout out. I loved it. I ate a lot of pizza and I figured out that's not the right way to do it. But I was eating a lot of pizza, watching, consuming YouTube, understanding. And then week 4, I start cold calling. Got like boarded up houses. He's like, Omar, I took him to a couple of them, and he looked at me. He was like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I was like, you didn't give me any information. And then I started learning a little bit more.
It's boarded up.
It's boarded up.
That was the
He told me it's boarded up. Here you go. And I was like, the owner is ready to sell, and he was like, no. Like, then I started learning more. It's just a step by step. You wouldn't have all the answers. Took more courses, learned a little bit more, started dialing, read a lot of books. And then I was like, okay, all that's great, but I got my first wholesale deal after like 2 months. It was a guy named John. He's one of my good friends. And then it was in Homewood. Homewood, I think I got it under contract for $3,000.
For all of you who don't know Homewood, let's say it's a little rough area. How about that?
Yep, very rough.
$3,000 in a hot market is how much did you make on that deal? Do you mind sharing?
5. So no, I made $2,000. So I wholesaled it I was gonna wholesale it for 7, but then once we ran the title, it came back. Brett, my title company, Brett Solomon, great dude. Brett was like, Omar, there's a husband name on there. Where is he at? And I was like, I don't know. I just talked to the wife. So I called the wife back. She was like, oh, he's been dead for 10 years. So I was like, Brett, what do we do? He was like, hey, call Jay. Jay was a state attorney. Call Jay. He was like, hey, I'll do it, but I'll take $3,000. But I'll get it through. We can close. So I called the customer back, called John, got everything working out.
So you had to cut into your profits.
Of course.
$2,000 was probably, you had to be doing backflips at that point.
No, I wasn't doing anything. That was like,
weren't you excited though? Like,
I was super excited.
What?
2K did nothing. Okay. So I was like, that's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
And then the best part is I kept relationship with all these people. So John bought the house, and then happened to be John is Middle Eastern too. He's an immigrant. I was like, John, let's go grab coffee. We go grab coffee. He became a good friend. I was just with his sister and her boyfriend the other day they're in real estate as well. So it just kept building relationships. So
wait, are the Egyptians taking over real estate?
No, they're Lebanese, but I mean, immigrants maybe. No, I don't think that's the case. But
it was the Chinese. Now the Egyptians are taking over.
Egyptians time.
If it's up to you, it will be that way, right?
No, I would love to help. Like, one of my biggest thing, I love to give back, and I would love to help people back in Egypt that didn't get the chance to come to America and build something for them. So that's always, I feel like it's not, it makes me, there's no feeling that you would get from anything else besides doing that, like giving back or helping. And I used to hear these people talk about giving back, and it wouldn't make any, like, I was like, sure, you just want to say that. But actually by doing it, you would never get that feeling from anything else. It just feels really, really good. So yeah. And then I was like, okay, I need to cut my expenses down so I can invest in myself. That's how you get richer, just less expenses, spend less than what you make. And I was paying rent. I was living with my friend, a roommate, and I was paying rent. And I was like, how can I cut that? So house hacking came in, but I didn't have any money to put down payment. I was like, how can I buy an FHA? And then I was like, can I get an FHA and BRRRR at the same time? And then I learned about the 203K loan, which is amazing. If you're starting 3.5% down.
Yeah, the 203K loan for listeners is it's an FHA government subsidized backed loan, and it also enables you to do repairs. So they hold a budget for you, and then they give you dollars as the repairs get completed.
Yep.
For your primary residence. And that's a fantastic way to get into something, make it new. A low interest rate, 30-year amortization.
Done. Yep.
Fantastic.
And you can make equity on top of that. So I found this deal, and then I was like, okay, this would work. The numbers would work. It was a long process.
Where is your, is that
still Fine View,
that's still
north side.
Home?
It's still my home. I'm still living there, rented the other side. I was just talking to Matt.
So it was a duplex.
It's a duplex. So I got a duplex. The idea is to get
side
a
multi-side duplex?
No, up and down.
Up and down. Okay.
So the idea of doing it is I wanted to eliminate the rent. So I wanted a multifamily, but at the same time, I wanted something where I have equity and I can cash flow. And people were like, you're looking for way too much. But I was like, it's okay. I know I could do it. So I looked at the deal. I got it, and did the renovation. Took me a long time because that was the second one. I had finished the Stowe Rocks one, and then I start working on this one.
Oh, I see. So that was your second deal.
I bought it first, but I didn't start the work. No contractor. I had a really hard time finding a contractor that wants to wait to get paid. But I was super frustrated at that time, Alex. I was like, okay, I have this deal sitting there. People would come and leave, wouldn't complete the jobs, would not bid it. It was just really tough. And that's where I actually, but guess what? Through that tough time, guess what? Now I have my own GC company. I'm a general contractor now, and I do work for other people because I've learned so much from this deal. And I start meeting people at work, and then I got another deal. I didn't even wait. I was still cold calling. Then I got under a contract for another deal, and I started renovating that. But I've learned the renovations really, really well from like, okay, 1, 2, 3, because it was a duplex. I renovated everything in it, understood everything, learned everything. And then people were calling me, hey, do you have a plumber? It's like, yeah, sure. Send my plumber over. And then I had a whole team now, people that I use. So I was like, okay, why don't I get in business? People start calling me, hey, Omar, painter, can you do tile? I was like, yeah, I have my whole crew. And from there, it took on and renovated quite a few houses. Actually, as I like to say it, or Ian would say it, I'm the official Deacon Hoover. If you would get general contractor, right? Jeremy helped them with few. Liam, Matt. I'm actually renovating a house for Matt right now, and a lot of people have been really, really happy because again, I come from the investing side. So if I go somebody and they're usually their first house, they were like, you know what, we want to do all the bathroom tile, and I do what you did to me. I was like, not here. It's really not worth spending. It's not going to get you more
so
rent.
you're helping you know that every penny counts.
Yep.
And you're also helping them make better decisions that ultimately can save them thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
Short term and long term.
Yep. I was like, what's your goal? Are you flipping? They're like, no, I just want to rent it. I was like, if you just want to rent it, it's not going to make you more money to finish the basement. It's going to get you the same. So I would hold into that, or I would do that. But again, I leave the decision up to them. I just give them the area of my expertise. So
yeah, you supply the information, and then
people make the decision.
It's up to them. All right. So your long-term goals, I have a few. Want to give back to Egypt and Africa.
Yep.
Help people who make or maybe are in a situation where I was before I made it to America. That's awesome. Billions of dollars in real estate. That's with a B. Wealth, and identify wealth as physical, mental, spiritual, and financial. Short is to write a best-selling book.
Yep. It's one of my goals.
Man, I'd like to read a book at some point, but you want to write one?
I want to write a best-selling book.
Start a family, travel with my mom, grow my construction business, online educational platforms, buy as much real estate as I can. And is this something that you look at this every day? Is it like up on your mirror, or is it just it's internalized?
No, I write that goal. I have 9 goals that I've wrote them every single day last year.
No kidding.
This year I've been like, still, but I write them every single day. In the morning, I have a very good routine.
I love it. Yeah, these routines are important because I've listened to some successful podcasts, multi-billionaires and 100 millionaires, and they all get up early and they all have some sort of routine and they all work hard. And it's the same ingredients for this recipe, So yeah, so tell me about that.
That's the same thing too. Like I was trying to figure out, like, you go through a journey, that journey like really, really changes everything. I'm sure you heard that before, where people say if all the money is gone, it will end up in the same pockets. Because it's not, and that's why I try to tell people, like when I get students, I was like, listen, it's not real estate that's going to change you or make you rich. It's you. Forget about the real estate, forget about all that. It's who you are, who you become. That's what you should know. Who am I going to become of doing this? Like, again, what I became through my 2 or 3K, I became a general contractor. I acquired a skill I wasn't even looking for from going through adversity, because I didn't have any money. I had hard money lenders. I did, for me, 6 renovation right now. That's just for me in 2 years. And a lot of them were creative finance, seller finance, and which we can get into if we had time. But like a lot of them were creative where I couldn't afford the mistake. So I had to become almost the GC. Beside the GC, I was watching them. I was like, hey, is this, because I couldn't afford to pay them and they mess up, and I had to bring up other money because I didn't have any. But it made me acquire that skill that I wasn't even looking for. So it's who you become. So I started reading more into that, start learning. And then I was like, okay, I have to be able to do that. I got to be mentally, physically, spiritually, everything connected and tough, or you're not going to make it. Because again, it's a tough, people think, again, they look at the fruit. I'm sure you get that a lot. Oh, look at Alex. He got multiple companies, multiple real estate. They don't know what Alex had to go through to get there. That the sacrifices Alex made, the decisions Alex made, the sleepless nights, the ideas, the stress, all that takes time to get there. So I started reading, and then I was like, okay, how can I make more time? Because everybody gets 24 hours. How can I'm still working my full-time job, and I run a
Yeah,
construction business.
that's what's amazing about this is you're still working your full-time job. You've been totally green. 2 years later, now you have a small construction company. You're actually doing work for other people.
Yep.
And also doing your own flips as they come. Baby steps.
Managing the properties.
You're not doing 10 a month. It's just BS when you hear, oh, I did 10 a month. I'm like, yeah, it's far and few between. So you are eating that elephant one bite at a time, but you have not stopped eating.
No.
And we're not talking pizza now. We're talking,
just
your hunger to explode onto the scene. And you've done that. And so what are the 9 goals? Yeah.
So that's where I figured, okay, you got to write your goals. You got to manifest. You got to bring things to attraction, because I believe the power of attraction. I wanted to come to America. It came. I wanted to be number 1 in AT&T. I did it. I wanted to become a real estate investing. I couldn't dreamed of owning 1 real estate. I got 6 and growing now. Thankful, blessed. And I was like, okay, there has to be something. What you think about is what you become. So the power of thinking, I'll tell you, doesn't mean that if you have a goal, you're going to get there. But I guarantee for you, if you don't have a goal, you're going to get nowhere. So, but having a goal, you're at least trying to shoot through a direction. So I was like, okay, what do I really want out of life? I started realizing, okay, money is important. But again, time is more important. That's where you would see travel with my mom, which I'm thankful. Last year, she came with me to the United States. It was her first time. I'm planning a few more trips this year. I just want to be able to show her the world. She loved America. It was a great time. We went to New York. So I started.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Also? I have an older brother and a younger brother and sister, which were my motivation when I came here. It was my younger siblings. I wanted them to have a better future as well too, and my mom. So the goals, I start writing them down. This way I keep every action I'm taking today. Is it taking me towards that goal or away? And if it's away, I got to cut it off, because you have no time going back to work and all this.
Right.
You have to be laser focused. So the goals are billions of dollars in real estate. I think this is the first time I share them, but here's my 9 goals. Billions of dollars in real estate is what it's going to give you. Millions of dollars in business. And as I said, education platform. I want to be able to help people share the route so people can do it, which I do a lot on my Instagram and online platform. Write a best-selling book. I want to write a best-selling book. And I'm starting, getting the idea. And then I have traveled with my mom, because what I'm going to get out of it. And I write wealthy. Wealthy, not just wealthy in money. Wealthy spiritually, wealthy physically, wealthy mentally. And these are things that are just as important, if not more important. But again, if you don't have the money, you can't think of anything till you get the money. So you can't do that. It all works together.
Yeah, it does. Trust me, this. Money doesn't make you happy, but it certainly helps.
It's certainly absolutely. Because if you don't have it, you cannot be happy anyway. All what you're thinking about, the food on the table, you're stressed out. So once you have it, it works.
I think money amplifies like who you are. So if you're like a greedy little person you're going to be a greedy poor person, you're going to be a greedy wealthy person. If you're generally a giving person, you're just going to give. It just amplifies who you are.
Yeah, they say it's a magnifier.
Money's not the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil.
It just, again, it goes to what are you going to do with that money, right? Like, you have some people say it's enough, or when is it going to be enough? You hear this a lot of like the movies or the books where people were like, or maybe the wife is upset at the husband, or the opposite, the husband upset. When is it going to be enough? You're never going to have enough. Again, it depends on what your goals are or why you're going there, and sometimes it's who you become.
Yeah. I love what you said, that I forget how I phrase it, but if you're, when I talk to some of my agents, I say, if what you're doing is not directly going to help generate leads for you, listings, buyers, and a sale, if you're doing something that's not going to generate, get rid of it.
Yep.
There might be like 4 or 5 things that you need to do, and you know this in sales. And one, you can't be afraid to pick up the phone.
No.
And if you're not doing that, and if it's something else, like everybody wants to have amazing website and everybody wants to have a podcast and this and that, you're that all is good. And you need that, but the basics are pick up the phone, work hard,
Yep.
grind, learn, make mistakes, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
And then you add to your tool belt as you go. Then you enhance everything with more money spending on marketing and technology and
yourself, like,
baby steps.
Right. Everybody, like, again, I think the social media is everybody, like, sometimes, and that's why I'm trying to change. I'm trying to show people, not change, at least like help clarify the picture. I'll post stuff when real estate gets stuff, and I'll show you, like, hey, here's a clock toilet. Now, was it bad? No. Can you get a plumber? Here's how you'd solve it. Like, you keep relationship. But I would show the stuff that a lot of people wouldn't want to show. Showing you Lamborghini and Ferraris and all that, and if that excites you, all right, go for it. Then people start looking for quick ways. They get emotional, and then they mess up. There's no way to get rich quick. I just don't think there's a way. You can go play the lottery, but if you got rich quick, you're going to lose that money quick because you became nobody. If I go scratch the lottery right now and I made millions, I'll probably go a couple of years ago, Omar mindset would go buy stuff. The money's gone. Now I know where to put that money and make it billions, right? So you have to work on yourself again to start
and put it to work.
To put it to work for you.
Put that money to work.
Absolutely. So
what were your 9 goals? We didn't get to those.
So travel with mom,
right?
Wealth, write a book, billions of dollars in real estate, millions of dollars in businesses, and write a best-selling book. We said that. I have, so let's see.
I think that's 5.
That's 5, right? So we got 5. 6, I got that I want to speak to influence. I want to influence people. I want to be able to speak like we're doing right now, or in a bigger
you want to impact
audience. Speaker. Yeah, impact, big impact. I want to get on up there and help people and influence people. And then speak to help people in Egypt and Africa. It's one of my goals as well. I want to be able to give back. This is one of my biggest goals. So I think we're 7.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other goals is start a family. It usually comes at the end, but they're not by any way prioritized. They just all the 9 goals. That's another thing I'm thinking about. I'm 30. I want to be able to, again, time is important. And you hear a lot of people say, okay, when I'm rich, maybe I will get there. Maybe one day, I believe that this is time you won't get back. So I want to start a family, and build a family with me. So that's one of my goals. That's why I write it. So I remember, because if I don't write it,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be going after it. So now I'm like going on more dates.
That's another quote I remember. It's, if you can think it, ink it.
Yep.
Write that down.
You can think it, ink it.
It is. It's so important.
And then
it really is. But then you can internalize it, and it's literally like imprinted, and it's like a tattoo in your brain.
Yep.
Now it probably is, because you're like, I think about this all the time. I know my goals. They're not going away. I don't need it on a mirror.
No,
it's there.
It's there.
What's number 9? I want to hear number 9.
What the family is, what got me to is I would spend a lot of time away from distraction. So I would think, not that I think that girls are distraction or dating is distraction, but I kept thinking my goal is this. I would make no time to do anything else. So I would meet somebody, but I would get too caught up that it will end up not working out because I'm just too busy working the business. Like, that's not a way to live. Get out a lot of time. So you're learning, developing. So number 9 is I want to buy dream homes. And what I mean by dream homes is I want to achieve my home here. I would love to have, I love riding horses. That's one of my hobbies. Like, I jump, I do dressage, and I love just being around like animals, and especially horses. I like to say equestrian. So I want to have beautiful house here, huge, on the ocean. Have a side ocean, and there's a stable in my house too. Like, I have my own stable, and we'll get there. We'll watch this maybe in hopefully a few years, and we'll see it. And then the other is back in Egypt. This one I'm actually working towards right now, because where I live right now is kind of smaller, and for my mom and my brother and my sister, I want to be able to upgrade that. But real estate is totally different in Egypt. Finance is different. Over there, almost cash is king. You just cash. You get to come in and cash out. And I want to be able to upgrade that house there. So These are just, again, I haven't changed these goals. It's been the same goals for a year till I accomplish them or add more of them. But I've made progress since I've been writing them down. A lot of them are like, getting there, or it helps by writing down your goals for sure.
Yeah, they aren't going away.
They're not.
The goals aren't going away. This was a fantastic interview. If there were three tips to give to a brand new investor, businessman, somebody starting a business, what would those three be? And if you can't think of three, just what?
No, I can think of a lot. Somebody starting new is, so first that I always say, work on yourself. And this is from Jim Rohn. I've never been on any interview or anything and I haven't quoted them. It's just I'm one of his biggest fans. He says, work on yourself harder than you work on the business. And I think this is great. You got to work on yourself.
Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N.
Yep.
Yeah. He was Anthony Robbins' mentor.
Yep.
And he's fun to listen to. He's great. He's probably not around.
No, he's not.
He's probably passed, but he is fun to listen to.
It's like one of the best ways to talk. And the way he said, I've read a lot of his books, and he's a philosopher and businessman and speaker, and it's just great to listen to. So he says, work on yourself harder than you work on your business. Or on your job. It's one of the great things. So that's by reading, hiring a coach, mentor,
work on you. So that's numero uno. I think that's number one.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because if you're not going to make it.
And I do I'm by far not perfect. I am by far not the most advanced business person, real estate entrepreneur. I make a lot of errors. I think I let my emotions if you let your emotions get a hold of you, the deals look better, and then you make mistakes. Yeah. So that's my biggest, I think, one of my biggest pitfalls. But I do tell a lot of folks who, are close to me, family, or just entrepreneurs, that, like, for example, if you're on an airplane, they tell you, the stewardess, when they tell you what you're going to do if there's an emergency, you put that emergency air mask on you first, not your child.
Your kids. Yep.
You put it on you, because if you can't take care of you, you're not going to be able to take care of anybody else. So think of that.
And people can see it too. Like if you're in a business, and Alex, you got to give yourself credit. You guys build a huge business here, very well known. If anybody asks me for agent side, I always refer to Deacon Hoover. You guys understand investing. A lot of your agents are really good friends of mine, and it's just a great team. Like, it's very inspiring to watch what you and Ian have been able to accomplish. Absolutely. So, and with that, you also help. Like, somebody like you could have just been like, who's that kid on the internet? You could just blow it off. But no, as that, you give back to. So that's amazing. But yeah, you're right. If you come to work and Alex hasn't worked on himself and he's frustrated, he's stressed out, you'll have no team like that. People just leave you and go work somewhere else. So they gotta believe into the leader. So that goes back to your point.
Number two, how about number two? Learn how to be a leader.
Yeah, that's important. In a business, you gotta lead people. I think this is important. I mean, it's the same as number one too, but like, you gotta know how to. It's not all about what's in it for you. If you want people, if Alex was very, very selfish, your team would leave.
Well, you lead your
21 stores.
So
21 locations.
What's number two? Learn how to be a leader.
Yep. If you're leading with
the
people.
number one thing to know about leading
people? Just people, man. Put yourself in there. So I had a lot. You gotta understand, like, communication. I think I was talking to Liam about that too. You're working with people. You gotta put people first. You gotta put, again, you cannot be scared of confrontation. There's so many things. You gotta be able to speak, accountability and speak, and clear expectation, right? And then second, think about why they're there. What's in it for them? Like, if you're just selfish, people, again, will leave right away. You gotta be able to give to people, like, again. And I think Patrick Bet-David said that. He says, do you know why America attracts the most hardworking immigrants? I'll tell you why. America attracts the most hardworking immigrants because you can come here to America and they can give you a piece of it. I can buy a piece of real estate or buy a piece of land, and I can call it Mr. Property. I can call whatever, and I can own a piece of America. So if you want to attract the highest working employees, you got to give them a piece of it, which makes sense. You cannot attract high employees and just be like, hey, so you just got to make sure what's in it for them is covered. But again, if you're starting a business, time is very important, or you're in real estate, and people who you hang out with, it's another very, very important thing, because again, you probably, not everybody is successful.
Mm-hmm.
So, and most people, it's a very, very small percentage of people that make it. And I had to understand that when I would go to my friends when I was just starting, they were like, "You're out of your mind. You're gonna lose all your money. That's not true. That's not how it works." Oh yeah, real estate. People will not get it. And sometimes not because they're bad. It's just not everybody is like that.
Yeah,
So you have to
their
know.
frame of reference is just from what they've experienced.
So you
And
gotta hang out with people
yeah,
that went back.
if you hang around, they say if you want to see who you're going to be in 10 years, look at the 5 people you hang around.
Yeah.
So it's not just who you hang around. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Maybe you're just in a family situation. You have to hang around these negative
People, yeah.
comments that not on
Most
purpose.
likely you will.
But you can still saturate your mind with podcasts and books, and just saturate your mind
Meetup
with
groups.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of things around that you could go. I think I also changed thinking with my friend that told me go look up that. I have another friend that's entrepreneur. All of a sudden I start talking about businesses, taxes, ideas, start learning creative finance, because your circle changed. It really is. So definitely, if you're starting a business, try hang out with people, meetup groups. People are there, like trying to, go out there. And again, we said, work on yourself, be a good leader for people, so learn how to serve people. Because if you're thinking about yourself, even if real estate, if Alex came and he just felt like Omar is all about, if I felt like Alex is all about Alex, hey, no, give me this property or whatever. If you look just for yourself, you got to give value. Even if the podcast, we're trying to give value to people. Everything is just give value. Learn how to give value.
People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Sure. That's
and yeah, true. that does come through. Some people are good at hiding that, but most of the time you can feel that there's an energy about it. So it sounds like you care, and your team members understand that, and they feel that. So, hey, it was a pleasure.
Alex, always mine.
Pleasure. We'll do this again. Maybe the next one we'll talk about creative financing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different topics, but this was the bare bones, basic fundamentals, which I always love to talk about, and I always want to instill that in everybody who listens. It is the fundamentals. The shiny object syndrome will drive you into the rocks, and your boat will sink. You got to stay focused. And it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Pleasure's
buddy.
mine.
Have
Thanks,
a good
Alex.
day, pal.